Broadcasting from the basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe Archino back here in a match with massive title implications happened this past weekend. Juventus taking on Napoli, and really, I think we all kind of understood and felt the same way. This was going to be the match that determines who is going to win the Scudetto this season. Serie A has really turned into a two-way race between Napoli and between Juventus. Napoli had been in first, and Juventus kept on moving up, and they now find themselves with 15 straight Serie A wins. It is a club record for such a storied team that has won so much and accomplished so many things. This is so unique, and I think you look at their win now. They are now in prime position to ride out the season and win the Scudetto. Now, it's still going to be very tight. It is going to be a battle through and through to the end. The one thing you have to say about both these clubs and why this match was so substantially important is they both take care of business against everybody that they're supposed to, against all the lesser clubs in Serie A. And I think, there are five that really stand out, and it's your pretty standard top five. It's Inter, it's Roma, it's Fiorentina. Those are the other three that are going to give them the most trouble. But outside of that, I think they take care of business against everybody else. And that's why this 1 point, Juventus now after this weekend in first place with 57 points, and Napoli right behind them with 56. But that 1 point could make the ultimate difference at the end of the season. They are now separated by one, but the fact that both these clubs really don't let their guard down against anybody else, that 1 point I really think could make the ultimate difference. But I think in this match, the one question that everybody was asking was, will Gonzalo Higuain finally be stopped? Will his goal pouring out party finally come to an end? And certainly he's been a guy who's been as consistent as they have come this season with 24 goals. It's been a remarkable run that he's had, but that Juventus defense had an answer for him, and they stopped him from scoring. And really, he didn't have it register a shot on goal until the 81st minute, which really is incredible just to think about. And one of the things you also have to take into consideration is Giorgio Chiellini wasn't even playing in this matchup. You had no Chiellini, so that defense isn't at its top capabilities, but they still got it done. And I did think Paulo Dybala was going to find a way to score his goal. It was Zaza who was able to step up and find the goal. But that is why, really, that kind of proves why I picked Juventus to win this match 1-0. Depth matters in matches like this, and Juventus just had more depth than Napoli did, and they were able to find that, it wasn't Morata, it wasn't Dybala, it wasn't Bonucci, it wasn't one of their top flight players, but it was a guy like Zaza, one of those other players, which just shows the depth that a side like Juventus has, and it's why they were able to win this match, and I think it's why they continue to climb up this ladder, and they'll be holding up a fifth straight Scudetto, which again, incredible testament to the run that they've had and the dominance they have wielded over Serie A these last couple of years. But we kind of look at their schedule up ahead a little bit, and again, it's what you think. It's why the match like this has so much riding on it, and why you absolutely had to walk away with a win here if you wanted any chance of winning the title. Bologna coming up next, but after that, the return to the Champions League, and this is probably one of the most difficult matchups we have in this round of 16. Juventus and Bayern Munich. Now again, Pep Guardiola, Bayern Munich, they have such a firm control over the Bundesliga right now, but that is such a difficult side to go up against. Where Juventus kind of has a lot of confidence, I think they should have, is the fact that, Italian sides give German sides a lot of problems. It's kind of one of those things where it just happens. Look at last year with Borussia Dortmund and Juventus. German sides seem to struggle with the tactics, with the philosophy, with the different way that Italian sides play. And especially with the way Juventus has played, I think you really have to say they have a good shot here. Now, another thing you have to take into consideration here is the Champions League is kind of Juventus competition. Early in the season when Juve struggled really mightily in Serie A, they still really held their own in the Champions League, were playing very well. Again, Manchester City comes into the Champions League perfect in the English Premier League. 5 wins from 5. They had no goals conceded, and they lose to Juventus when they play their first matchup. Juve, this is a competition they do very well in. I think once they finally get a guy like Chiellini back, and who knows, he might be healthy for that matchup against Bayern, it could very well be one that's in their favor, and it could inspire them even more. I think that's also a difference. Sometimes people say, playing all those extra matches, they do fatigue you a bit more, and there's truth to that. But there's so much, Juve plays for so much that matters, and I think sometimes that superiority complex kind of comes into play. Who is Napoli? Napoli's not playing for anything important like the Champions League. I think that's kind of the mentality that Juventus has. They're playing for the competitions that matter the most. They were in the biggest competition. They were the second best club in Europe last season, right behind Barcelona. They stood toe-to-toe with them for a time, and then Messi and Neymar and Suarez's brilliance just took over, and they ended up winning that match. But Juve has played and continue to play in the biggest competitions against the biggest clubs in the world, and I think that superiority complex continues to really show, and Massimiliano Allegri really, his side plays to that, and it's one of those things where now they're in prime position to win the Scudetto. I think that they will. I've thought, again, once they had the 10-match winning streak, I thought, you could very easily see where things are going. Momentum matters in sports, and it certainly matters in life, and Juventus has it all, and we'll certainly continue to see them use that momentum to take their firm control and win yet another Scudetto. But until that happens, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and we'll see everybody next time.